How's everyone today? All right, so our introduction we will start with, today we will explore the innovative strides being made to reduce environmental impact through sustainable and eco-friendly materials. With the increasing awareness of climate change and resource depletion, businesses and consumers alike are seeking ways to minimize waste and promoting recycling. Sustainable packaging not only addresses these concerns, sorry, I lost track here, but also offers opportunities for creativity and efficiency in product design. By opting for biodegradable, reusable, and recyclable materials, producers can significantly lower their carbon footprint while meeting the demands of environmental cautious consumers. So next, I'm going to kind of dive into why sustainable packaging is important. Yeah. So first, we'll talk about the environmental impact. Traditional packaging materials, such as plastic, contribute significantly to environmental pollution, as we all already know. We also have resource conservation, which often involves the use of renewable resources and energy-efficient processes. For example, packaging made from recycled paper or plastic plant-based materials help conserve natural resources and reduce the need for virgin materials. And we also have consumer demand. I'm sure we've all experienced more of our customers coming in looking for specifically sustainable packaging, or even asking the questions of what type of packaging that you're using at your markets. I don't know if anybody has a comment to that experience. Let's see here. So sustainable packaging often involves the use of renewable resources, energy-efficient processes. I'm sorry, I already read that one. So food safety and quality would be the next one. And that also contributes to the safety and quality of the produce. So now companies are starting to use materials that not only help protect, so like beeswax, for instance, they're starting to utilize that a little more, and it helps protect the food. And then we also have the economic benefits. So when we can help our consumers understand that they need to be part of the wheel, because without everyone contributing to the process of using sustainable packaging, then like I tell my husband, then if one spoke's missing, the wheel can't turn. So we need to educate them on the importance. And then lastly, I have regulatory compliance. More and more, the world is becoming more progressive with climate change policies. So it's just really good to keep track of what those regulatory compliance policies are going to start to look like all over the world, the U.S. especially. Do we have any questions so far? All right, so what is sustainable packaging? Sustainable packaging is a forward-thinking approach that focuses on creating packaging solutions with minimal environmental impact. The goal is to reduce the ecological footprint of packaging materials by considering their entire life cycle. So we need to think of when this is being made to when it hits the landfill. All right, so what are the benefits? We're going to reduce plastic waste. And by doing that, we're using eco-friendly produce packaging, greatly decreasing plastic waste. We can also contribute to a cleaner environment, and encourage sustainable practices, alternatives like glass jars, bioplastics, and compostable bags are key to reducing our dependence on single-use plastics. And like you guys said, then they're returning the bags back to you and you have to throw them away. So I can see the dilemma there. By adopting these innovative solutions, individuals and businesses can make meaningful contributions to a zero-waste movement and significantly lower their carbon footprint. Bioplastics are made from natural materials that will decompose faster. So if you can find bioplastics to use instead, then you can have a little more conscious mind of, okay, this is going to the landfill, but it's going to decompose. So second, we have enhances nutrition preservation. So some eco-friendly packaging companies, they're starting to come out with new ways to add either like a shellac to their container that's going to help. Like I said, beeswax is really starting to come out. They're starting to research that more and more on the use. So having a package that's lined with that, it's going to help preserve the produce from spoiling a lot faster, especially beeswax. I guess I really focus on that because I think there's so much we could do with beeswax and it's just not being utilized in a way that it could be. So maybe hopefully that the strides could, in that source of a product can become So when we are using sustainable packaging, a really big benefit too is that we're promoting a healthier lifestyle, because these produce that you're putting in plastic packaging, that plastic can leak into the food source, and then it's making people obviously not as healthy because it's leaking. Do we have any questions? Sorry, I've been talking all day, so. No questions? Boy, you guys are quiet this morning. Don't let me do all the talking. No. Okay, so I'm going to start going into some of the examples. Actually, I think I'm going to go with the challenges and solutions, and then we can cover all of the examples of packaging. So I'm just going to skip this slide, and we'll come back to. So we can contest there can be challenges when using sustainable packaging. So we use things like, a plastic egg carton that we can wash and reuse. And then we also sell raw milk. And so we bottle our milk in jars with the intent that our customers bring it back. But that's not always the case. So that can be a big challenge, because if they're not bringing it back, we're just contributing to the carbon footprint all over again, because we have to go purchase more jars. We have to go purchase more egg cartons to fill that void of them not returning theirs. So realistically, my thought process, well, then how are we helping the carbon footprint? The manufacturer has to make more of those jars to sustain, so we can have the jars to put our product in. So that can be a very big challenge, and that's something that we face a lot. So the other thing is a cost concern can be a challenge, because it is such a new and upcoming innovative product that obviously with anything when it's new, it becomes very costly. Fortunately enough, the price has gone down quite a bit in the last few years. So that's good. At least we're making some progress. And then sometimes the limited availability too, because there's not many manufacturers that are making sustainable packaging right now. So that can also be a huge challenge of just finding the product. And then sometimes durability, effectiveness. When you start looking online at different packaging, it's really hard to really look at that picture and say, well, is this really going to be durable? Is this really going to hold a bushel of apples or whatever you're selling? And then sometimes just consumer acceptance can be a challenge too. So just having those talks with your consumers about why it's so important. And I guess the acceptance part too from the consumer is sometimes you do have to charge a little more for your product because you're using a sustainable packaging. But like I said, just having those really deep heart-to-heart conversations with people one-on-one about the importance of the impact that they're making is just great. And then sometimes a challenge can be if you're following your regulatory compliance. That can get a little messy because sometimes it's not always black and white on what's acceptable.
You said you're used to plastic next time.
That's a great question. So what I did was when I got certified to sell eggs, ironically, our inspector that did that is also our milk inspector. So when he came out to certify me for my eggs, he just had that conversation when I just asked him about it. And so he said, as long as you're washing them with soapy water, and it basically the 3-step process. So you're going to wash it and then rinse it and then sanitize it in a sink full of bleach water, just a cap full in the sink. And then that's it. So I was like, well, that's pretty simple. Why are not more people doing that, you know? And that's the same with when we do our raw milk too. So we ask our customers to bring the jars back clean, but obviously we can't always take their word for it. And so just for our mindset, we rewash them all when we get them back. But if they do wash them, it does definitely help us with the process to make it go a little faster. But
do you wash all your cartons in your eggs and your milk by hand, or do you have any kind of microwave?
Right now, we're doing it all by hand. So I wash over 100 jars a week because we sell over 50 gallons of milk weekly, sometimes more. So yeah, I've been doing it all by hand. We've written some grants to hopefully get some of that stuff, but we all know there's a grant freeze right now, so we'll see how that works. Any other questions? Anybody?
You had to use the special soap on your jars for the like the more basic soap or something. I know, but when they wash pipeline, right, they use what dairy soap is more effective on the fat.
So yes, we in our pipeline we do use a certain it's called a clean in place detergent, where that's more effective because you can obviously get into the pipeline to clean it. But with this, you can use any detergent if you're doing it by hand. Yeah. And honestly, I started buying the dishwasher soap and just using that because then I don't have the bubbles. Because otherwise my sink is about this high of bubbles and it's all over the place. But yeah, that's a great question. They really don't have much as far as regulatory stuff for that, as far as what chemicals you can and cannot use, just as long as it's a wash, a rinse, and then you're sanitizing with the bleach water. Was there any other questions? Those are great questions.
The inspector, the sanitizer, how they sample it. Like we sample for our milk or whatever, we send a state template every.
Oh yeah.
Big one up. So he checks in the jar. How we send it out, you got to take one of them jars and take it in. So if we're not getting our jars clean enough, it's gonna leave a bacteria and.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, so if it's not clean enough, if we're in trouble,
Yeah. and they'll let you know real fast. We can recycle the lids also. Yep. Over time, these lids will start to crack and stuff, so then I replace them. But yeah, otherwise we can reuse them, which is nice. And we also, so we have bees too, so we send all of our honey out in jars with hopes and intentions that we can get them back from them as well to reuse again the next season. So yeah, I guess that we could just go into the solutions and strategies to kind of help. So like I said, a big struggle is getting that back. So how can we come up with a solution to basically entice the consumer to bring those items back? So what we do, like with our raw milk, if they don't have their jar out and ready for us to switch out with filled ones, they don't get their milk that week. Sometimes it's really hard to take that big of a stance, but it just gets to the point that if you let it slide once, they just continue because you're allowing it, you're tolerating it. So our philosophy is what do we say? Well, we advocate, we tolerate. So then same with the egg cartons too. We just ask them to switch it out. And for people who do like CSAs and stuff, you could do maybe like a punch card system, which can be kind of daunting though too, because then you have to keep people lose a punch card and that kind of thing. So I think a solution to that would be as simply come up with some sort of money incentive, as simple as, if you have a honey jar and they bring it back, well, then you give them, say, 25 cents when they bring that jar. People like to get something in return for doing things. It's just how they operate nowadays. I'm sure we can all contest to that. Kind of gives you a little more motivation. And like we use jars we have a freeze dryer. So when we do our freeze dried products too, we'll send them out generally in a jar as well. Cost of, obtaining the product originally can be a lot. But as we all know that if we can buy in bulk, that cost can go down. So I highly recommend collaborating with other producers in your area, even if you don't know them. Reach out to them and say, hey, like, I want to get this sustainable packaging. Like, let's cut the cost down, and would you be interested in placing a order too, or maybe we can split a pallet or something. Just really having those collaborations of working together can help, become a solution to the cost.